How do we divide fractions? Well, we don't really divide. We're going to multiply it by its inverse. If we have a fraction right here and we flip that fraction upside down, we call that an inverse. So again, we don't divide. We're going to multiply by the reciprocal. Now that's where this little saying came from that you've probably heard, something like keep, change, flip. But it's just trying to say, hey, please don't divide. Just multiply a fraction by its reciprocal, and we're fine. So when we see this division problem right here, the first number needs to stay, and we're going to change this into multiplication, and then we're going to flip this fraction upside down. And yes, you will get the wrong answer if you flip this very first fraction. So don't do anything with it. Keep it the same. That goes back to this little saying that you've heard a bunch, but again, this saying is just trying to say, would you please change the division into multiplication and take that second fraction and flip it upside down. Now, we don't really care where that negative sign goes, and this is a negative fraction, so flip the numbers upside down, but keep that negative sign up top. And now we follow the same multiplication rules we've always followed. If you want to go ahead and multiply straight across, knock yourself out. 1 times -4 is -4, 2 times 3 is 6. However, remember, if you can ever simplify anything, including the diagonals, that sure can help you out. I can divide -4 and 2 by dividing them by 2. -4 divided by 2 is -2, so this becomes -2. Now over here at this one, 2 divided by 2 would make it 1, so I'm going to put a 1 right here. 1 times -2 is -2. 1 times 3 on the bottom makes our denominator 3. And again, anytime that you can simplify before you multiply, it's probably going to increase your chances of not having to simplify your answer, and we're good to go there. Now, what happens if you have a whole number in this problem? Well, please just make that whole number a fraction by putting a 1 under it. And also to clarify, it should always be a positive 1 that we put under whatever the number is. If this was a -8, I would still be putting a positive 1 underneath it. So how do we make any integer into a fraction? Putting a positive 1 underneath it. Okay. Now, please multiply this by its inverse, right? We're going to flip this upside down. Don't flip the first fraction. We've got to make this the inverse. We've got to flip the second fraction. Now, this gets to be quite a bit of multiplication, and this is the reason I've been going and going and going at you about canceling common factors. Look, can't simplify, but what about the 8? And the 8. Any numerator can be teamed up with a denominator. We can divide both of these 8s by 8. So 8 divided by 8 is 1. 8 divided by 8 is 1. And now we're free to multiply. Oh look, we get 17 over 1. And look, this is an improper fraction, but look, 17 over 1 is the same thing as 17. Okay? That's all that it is. Or in other ways, how many times can 1 go into 17? It goes in 17.